right, this is Darker Days Radio episode number 78, the live show. I'm one of your hosts, Mike, and before we get to the live show that Chris and I did, I wanted to front-end this episode with some news. So we just got back from World of Darkness Berlin, and it was an incredible and energetic experience. We met World of Darkness gamers and Chronicles of Darkness fans from all over the world. There were Germans, Ukrainians, French, Koreans, Russians, Brazilians, Canadians, Chileans, Swedes, so many Swedes, and plenty of people that were probably from other countries that I just didn't happen to meet. Of course, we were only able to attend the show because of the generosity of Participation Design Agency, the live-action firm running the whole convention. So special thanks to Bjarka, Johanna, Trolls, and Johanna, and all of their other staff that were helping out. Chris and I, but mostly Chris, live blogged the entire event. So if there's anything you missed, there's going to be a link in the show notes to check out some of the panels, presentations, and cool LARP anecdotes. We also recorded a ton of exclusive interviews, which will be released in the coming weeks. Next Friday, we're going to have an interview with some Ukrainian World of Darkness community runners, followed the next Friday by a Chronicles of Darkness and World of Darkness crossover presentation that Chris and I gave. And finally, we're going to have a series of war stories from the Enlightenment and Blood LARP event, which is going to be coming out Friday, June 9th. Finally, I wanted to highlight a few announcements from White Wolf's keynote presentation, because there was some pretty interesting stuff that came out of that. First off, there's going to be a new Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf the Apocalypse editions. They're going to be coming out real soon, and V5 is actually in rapid development with its new lead developer, Ken Hite. For those of you that don't know him, Ken is a pretty popular game designer who has released a ton of great games, from the eerie mysteries and exploration of Trail of Cthulhu to the paranoid vampire hunting of Night's Black Agents. He's an excellent fit to design and reinvigorate the new version of the Storyteller system, having a mastery of both game design and statistics. Next, White Wolf is creating a new World of Darkness community site to host interaction between players, whether it be tabletop, live action, card games, or any of the other cool new content on the horizon. So that's going to be something to look for in the future. And building off of that interactive community, White Wolf is also creating the ST Vault website. This is going to be powered by DriveThruRPG, and the ST Vault will allow players and storytellers to publish their own material, even for profit, and they can do this for any edition of any World of Darkness game. And I can't stress enough how much I like this. I think it's a great opportunity for White Wolf and players in general to support pretty much every way that people want to play. So if you pick up V5 and decide that maybe you still want to run stories using the older 20th anniversary edition, you certainly can, and it's still going to be actively supported. That's only a fraction of the World of Darkness and Chronicles of Darkness news that came out of World of Darkness Berlin. And we'll be sure to discuss even more of the future announcements on our next full episode. But for now, if you're curious, we'll put a link to the White Wolf keynote in the show notes, so you can go check that out for yourself and also get some of the new metaplot ideas which are being kicked around. But without further ado, let's jump into the live Darker Days recording from World of Darkness, Berlin.
Hey, this is Chris Handley, one of the hosts of Darker Days Radio, and I'm joined by Mike.
Yes, Mike, also from Darker Days Radio, live at World of Darkness, Berlin.
So, what's been going on then, Mike? What have we experienced here at this huge fan festival?
Tons of stuff. It's been a great time. There's been plenty of lectures, Q&As, celebrities, and you know what? Maybe a little gaming as well.
A little bit of gaming. And what bit of gaming has been going on? We've had Vampire the Eternal Struggle, which is, they've had an anthology deck of cards printed.
Yep, that's right.
You know more about that than I do, so...
Yeah, certainly. So the anthology deck is pretty exciting because it's the first time in 7 years that a new set of cards for Vampire the Eternal Struggle has been produced. So that's pretty exciting. We haven't had anything since Heirs to the Blood back in 2010, so It's a big deal for the community, and they were playing some storyline tournaments. They have their European Championship here, where only the best of the best can compete. And from what I've heard from a couple of friends over there, it's been pretty cutthroat.
Okay, cool. And then currently there's a V5 pre-alpha test going on.
Yeah, that's what everyone's playing right now.
Yeah, everyone's playing right now. But then the other gaming that's been going on is there's been some other LARPs. So they've done the reruns of End of Line.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right.
Which was first done in Stockholm?
Helsinki,
and yeah, that's it. And that was like a vampire rave, so that's been going on again. I don't know what location they use for it, but it'd be nice to see the photos and how that's a bit different and learn from people how that version, rerun in Berlin, is played out.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, last night was Enlightenment in Blood.
That's right. And this is an exciting thing for both Chris and I because neither of us have LARPed ever before. As
Martin Erickson put it, he was happy that you popped our cherry on LARPing.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's basically what happened. It was a real learning experience in many ways, but I think that we really got into it pretty well. And it helped that we had a great group of people in our, I don't want to say coterie, but our initial kind of starting company that we are with.
So the thing that was interesting with the LARP, I mean, it's based on Nordic LARP, which means there's less mechanics. It's more about social interaction and agreeing where you want the plot to go rather than competing for the plot. And the character creation involved an online kind of questionnaire that led you through to the character that you played. Now, what did we play, Mike? Because we kind of already colluded on what we wanted to play.
Yeah, we definitely wanted to, this is a vampire-centric live-action experience, but to be able to really see everything, wander around, move in and out, we wanted to be part of the technocracy. And we were pretty excited with that, and as it so happened, there was, in fact, a player option already made to be syndicate agents. So that's what we went with. No one else had picked it yet. So basically through the online character creation process that you mentioned, we picked out that we wanted to be mages in this particular company known as Integral Solutions. And from there, you could also pick a secondary society that you were a part of. I was in the Losers Club, and Chris, you were in the Environmental Action Plan?
Green Action Force. I interacted very infrequently. No, actually, there was a few members in our actual Integral Solutions who were members of that. So we had multiple ways of connections between characters, and that really, I think, helped tie together Integral Solutions and made it seem like this PR company that was involved in many different business and political aspects. I think what was really fun about that initial setup is while we could have inhabited the World of Darkness and had a very political game as Vampire Somewhere or Werewolves or something like that, we had a group that, from the outset, it was a very mortal game. Like, if we hadn't had any of the supernatural stuff, I still think we would have had an excellent, excellent game just off that.
Certainly. We just had some great players with us and really focused on a main mission of making money. We were in a PR firm, big accounts, high corporate interests, and we're all just focused on that end goal. But we also had everyone in the company. It was very interesting to find this out. Our own particular subplots, our sub-goals that we're also trying to follow. And the great thing about this experience is that we were able to kind of weave in and out of different stories and get little samples and tidbits of that as we went.
So our initial story started with a meeting of Integral Solutions. I was playing the head of finance, kind of a Roger Sterling Mad Men, kind of wheeler-dealer, lobbyist, ex-political kind of conservative researcher type thing. You were playing the new rookie accountant.
Yes, Michael Smith.
I was Alex.
Newly arrived, only 1 week in Berlin.
Yeah. And we met with the rest of the company. We discussed the client we were meeting, called the New Cathars, and we worked out our pitch, trying to work out how their modern religious philosophy could be something we could sell. And then we had to go meet them, or at least they were meant to come meet us, or something. There was some confusion.
Basically, we had to go to them. There was a crisis at the Church of the New Cathars. And, we ventured over. Everything seemed positive. We got there, and they had quite the congregation. A lot of people there, a lot of very interesting types, from the homeless to the very wealthy. And we met the church leaders very early on, and also heard some rumors that a preacher might have been murdered on the stairs. So we knew that they needed public relations help fast. And, just kind of fast-forwarding, we spoke to them, gave some great presentations, great role-playing from the entire group, and from there, got them to sign the contract.
Yeah, you sealed the deal on that one.
Yeah, a little wink-wink, nudge-nudge, extension of a credit line through technocratic means, but it got the job done, and from there, we really entered the world of darkness.
Indeed. Having done that, we headed back to the New Cathar Church and went upstairs to see if we could get closer to their accounts so we could look closely at where their money flow was coming from.
That was the plan.
That didn't... And there was just us two upstairs, and then that didn't pan out too well.
I don't know where everyone else went in our company. They all started to get involved in their own little plot lines and all that. But Chris and I were dedicated to the contract that we had just created, and we're getting to work. What we found in the New Cathars was something quite peculiar. Lots of strange characters, as we mentioned, were already there. And then we were accosted by a homeless man in there who started to do some strange things. Now that I recount it as my character, something quite didn't add up in that situation. And from there, we were messed with by a bunch of vampires, pretty much.
Indeed. So you
I ran for it, man. I got cornered. I don't even know what this guy was doing to me. It was terrifying. Terrifying experience.
Yep. And you left me on my own in a church of...
What could I do? He said I was really, really scared. Just had to run.
You just bolted. So
I did bolt. Almost knocked someone over.
Didn't we witnessed and heard something in passing about werewolves? There was someone feeding, and that was all just kind of scary up there. So yeah, I made a quick step out, finding you downstairs, outside the church.
Well, I was actually saved by... incidentally, a couple of vampires that we saw before. I didn't know they were vampires. I didn't know. We had no idea. Our briefing said there was going to be maybe some reality deviants.
Mages, more than likely.
Yeah. Nothing about vampires or werewolves.
We knew nothing. Hello,
madness.
We have more people in the crowd. Finally.
It's happening.
It's happening here now.
Yeah.
So you escaped. You got outside.
I did.
I got outside, and then we met up with Johann Kunckel, who was one of the members of Integral Solutions. And he seemed up for a fight. Yeah,
well, I mean, he lifts a lot. Goes to the gym pretty often. And I saw this dude that was just, like, messing with me in there. It made me really scared. I was afraid. I said, "Hey, Johann, that guy was bothering me." And he said, "Let me go F him up."
And he did. He beat him into the dirt for us. And that's when we began to step back and realize that we were facing two extremely powerful individuals that broke all the rules of nature. I think we witnessed some guy disappear and appear behind us.
You said that. I didn't see anything.
And then, quite clearly, we knew something else was going on.
Right. But the good thing was that Johann and his buddy Ralph were on our side.
Yes. Little did we know we had actually two werewolves with us, and they were beating up vampires on our behalf.
Yes.
Because we were poor, lowly, mages.
That is how a wonderful night started. So from there,
did we go from there?
We went off on a little adventure. I was going to go buy Johann a beer, for helping us out. And we went to the Jaeger hut, which had a lot of people there. They were pretty energetic, very excited. They kept talking about, like... Red liberation, equality, all these other things. Not really my cup of tea.
We learned a bit about the Red liberation because in-game there was a social media website that players could interact with called Undernet.
Yes.
And we'd already heard about that, and it was all very strange.
Yeah, there's a lot of bizarre stuff. We actually thought it was just a PR stunt, some guerrilla marketing at first.
Fake news.
Which we did use for some of our PR assistance to the new Cathars, but that's another story there. So we had some information. Rolf kept saying stuff about, like, these weird organizations that were going about the night in Berlin, but I didn't pay it too much heed. Just wanted to get Johann that beer and, maybe do a little more investigations into the new Cathars. So, yeah, we got to the Jaeger hut, wandered around a little bit.
Yeah.
Met some pretty funky people outside. That's when we went inside, and we met two very interesting individuals.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
They were really good. Now, because we were all, like, suited up, we looked like business people.
Very, very out of place in the Jaeger hut.
Yeah. We mostly didn't look like the way vampires dress in suits. We were rather more colourful, I think. We weren't in black suits for starters, nor red shirts and looking like that. But we turned up and then we talked to these two individuals, and they were quite happy to meet humans. And they revealed that they were working for a company called Pentex. I wonder who they are. A huge multinational corporation involved in manufacturing, chemicals, all that kind of business.
Your character was from the UK, mine was from the US, so we were very familiar with Pentex, but apparently in Germany they don't have as much of a foothold at the moment.
And of course we're always looking for investment opportunities, and this was a prime candidate. So what happened then? Well, obviously my character, being a syndicate agent, is very good at auditing. He's very good at looking at your books and knowing where your money flow is coming from. So this poor Pentex employee told me everything. I was like, you're really, 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 really going to tell me everything because I'm going to audit your books and I want to know more about your company. And that's when we learnt their boss is a vampire, there are werewolves, they're still human, and we learnt there's vampires all around us. And that's when we were quite happy that we put two and two together with everything else we saw. Something bad was going down that very night. We assumed there was something bad. That was why we were sent by head office, by control, because simulations have said there's going to be a Black Swan event that night. And we got some good possible contacts. And then we left because we got what we wanted.
I mean, well, we took some selfies, had a couple of shots. It was a good time, exchanged some information. They were kind of dodgy, though. I kept offering to try to help, get in with a kind of a public relations angle with Pentex. That'd be great for my career. But they just weren't that interested at the moment. So there was no business there, and we had to leave. I'm going to pause our story and continue their story, because apparently after we left, they met some Redcap changelings who gnawed off their hands, leaving only stumps, and killed those two fine Pentex employees.
I think they pulled their guts out as well.
And dipped their hats in the blood, as the Redcaps do. So we missed that, but also we didn't die. So you win some, you lose some.
Oh, you don't want that up. That's a different screen. Sorry, that's my screensaver there. Anyway, carry on, Mike.
What did we do from there? We kind of wandered off. Oh, we met Rolf again. He kept telling us about some emotional situation he was in. There was some love quadrangle, I think, between three werewolves and I assume another werewolf, but possibly maybe she was a vampire. I had some theories about that. We'll have to check with those guys sometime.
Yeah.
And we ended up not helping them out because, frankly, there wasn't a deal there. There was nothing that Rolf could really do. Maybe he could beat up some vampires again for us, that sort of thing, but ended up not really helping them. But we ended up in a bar, much nicer bar, very fanciful, and that is where the action didn't ramp up, but the story of our characters certainly escalated.
So which bar was this?
This is the Camarilla bar.
Oh, the Raumklung, is that right? Was that the one name? I asked the audience. I get a nod. Yeah. So we walked in there. It was a lot calmer than that other bar.
Oh yeah, some soothing music in the background.
Nice decor, nice seats.
Dapper attire.
And of course,
we fit in.
My character being a lobbyist involved in getting funding from people that have lots and lots of money, tangentially was also kind of knows some people from the Hope Foundation.
Yep. So
there were people there with Hope Foundation badges on.
Yeah, they're a big deal in Germany. They do a lot of investments into the arts, urban development, really revitalizing the city. It's a very altruistic organization.
So we sat down. I had a chat to a fellow talking about potential PR opportunities with the Hope Foundation. Apparently had some nice artwork that he really wanted to show me on another night, because I've seen him buy some strange paintings and so forth. That was a bit of a fun conversation. They suggested we shouldn't work with the new Cathars.
They did suggest that.
That was a bad idea. They also agreed that Pentex were a bunch of polluting... very bad company with pollution and green issues.
That was interesting, an interesting remark. Now, you, of course, are very into green initiatives. I'm progressive, right? Yeah, something like that.
I'm looking for ways to market new green technologies. With the syndicate, obviously, we're looking at the bottom line.
Absolutely. Increased efficiency.
And then you got some information that was... This is kind of crazy.
Yeah, so he started schmoozing with some, very ancient-looking individual. And I was just talking to some people around the bar. I approached a woman and said, like, "Hi, I'm Michael Smith at Integral Solutions." And she's like, "Oh, hi, I'm," whatever her name was, 12th generation Ventru, or 12th generation of Clan Ventru.
You didn't even use a single magical power, wrote anything. And they just divulged all that information.
I now know, as a technocrat, that clans exist. This is clearly a vampire. Clammy, cold hands. Yeah, poorly played. But I was in the Camarilla bar, so maybe they assumed I was a vampire, maybe?
And I think, actually going back a bit, before we headed off to that bar... I met back up with one of the members of Integral Solutions, so Ferdinand, and he said he made a new deal about a computer game company. 3 million euros involved in it. Now, we like to be involved in deals when they get made.
Right.
So we know where all the money is going. And I had a distinct distrust of this, so I, using my abilities, ensured that investment opportunity failed. So he had to then reveal to his partners that no, they weren't going to get the money. No, they weren't going to get this deal. That they were screwed. So that was kind of fun. And then where do we go from the Camarilla bar? Where did we go then?
Well, we had two other things occur there.
Oh yeah.
This was kind of towards the very end of the night. Things were reaching their climax in other places.
We were seeing people feeding. Well. Trying to hide they were feeding.
There was some weird stuff going on in that bar. But this is where our covers were pretty much blown.
Yeah, actually, yes.
Yeah, so I was just talking to a very nice individual from the Church of the New Cathars. I was just, doing my usual kind of BS, talking about synergy, transmedia, and all that kind of stuff, trying to work some new angles, get some more money out of them. And he just reaches over, puts a hand on my shoulder, and says, "Tell me your darkest secret."
And what is your darkest secret?
That I betrayed control.
You betrayed control?
Yep.
Well, I guess when I find that out, hopefully, you're going to be sent back for conditioning.
Oh, no, they already know. They've already brainwashed me and conditioned me at this point, and I merely asked him for some assistance with getting my old personality and memories back. Of course, we weren't able to... finish off that storyline in the game, but
you weren't the only one that actually divulged information. I got asked what I am, not who I was, what I am. And so again, this vampire suddenly learned that I was a technocratic union syndicate agent. Yeah. I don't think that player was really expecting to be talking to mages tonight.
No, that's what I heard from the New Cathar guy as well. He's just like, what? What are you doing here?
Did we explain how many... Have we already mentioned how many technocrats were in the game?
We have not.
How many people are on stage currently?
There's currently 2 on the stage.
How many technocrats were in the game?
There were 2.
There were 2. We had no backup. There we were, going into this situation. We were just sent by control to observe, to learn, to get data, to find investment opportunities, discovering vampires of all sorts fighting, werewolves of all sorts fighting, and with no backup from hit marks.
Nothing.
We were screwed if something went down.
But you know what? It didn't go down.
It didn't go down, no. So
we survived.
So it was then getting pretty late in the night. I think it was getting close to 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we headed back to the Jaeger hut because out of game we knew that was the last location, and we didn't want to wander around the city all the time. We were getting a bit tired, so it made sense to go to where surely the climax in some respects of at least part of the game was going to occur. And we met a homeless bum of a vampire travelling around Europe.
He wasn't really super homeless, but no. He was. Okay.
He explained he was travelling around in cargo containers.
Oh, I missed that.
Oh, I heard that.
Whoops.
And you're like, you travel around in cargo containers, and then you learn about, vampires, and, they hate sunlight. You put two and two together. So we made him a deal. He had no money. We have lots.
Tons.
So your powers, at this point, we can explain. What were your powers?
Mine were to really, really extend a credit line. That's how I sealed the deal with the New Cathar Church at the end. And also, I could just exterminate any debt that anyone had. I never actually used that one, but I did extend another deal to this individual.
Couldn't you actually shut down their funding? I thought it was like the one was give them money to get rid of their debts.
I believe I could only extend the credit deal.
You could,
we were doing the good cop, bad cop kind of thing.
No, you had the other one, I'm sure.
I can give people more money, and I can eliminate their debt.
Oh, okay, right. So
the stingy thing about it is they don't know where the money's coming from.
No.
And you can audit them and find out,
We're good with numbers. We're very good with numbers.
Extremely.
And then my powers, as I said, was auditing, and the other one was causing... So the investment, the reason that fell through, my powers, your investment will really, really, really cause this project company to fail or succeed. It's a shame we didn't get to use that with betting on underground fighting.
I never actually met any of the other people in the Losers Club. Nope. I was supposed to hang out with them, but they're too secretive,
Far too secretive. They were mostly an underground fighting ring of, werewolves or something?
Yeah, I would have probably been squished pretty
So
fast.
it would have been great to have put a bet on you and then walk over to your opponent, and if they were a werewolf, go, you have to lose. I've bet on you, and by my really, really power, you lose. That would have been great. So we gave this guy some money.
We did.
And little does he know, we have a habit of giving... He wanted it in cash.
Yep.
No strings attached? Well, we have strings. Little does he know, they're mostly marked bills, radioisotope, and we'll watch where he goes round Europe and track his money trail. And that's pretty much the game. That was our night. So we didn't butcher anyone. We didn't murder... Well, no, we inadvertently caused things to happen. We seemed to walk from location to location, and after us, chaos would erupt. People would die, and we only learned about all of this at the end of the game. So, Johann Klein, who was in our company, he, through the deal that you made with the New Cathars, killed 14-odd vampires at the end of the night?
Yeah, we convinced him to beat up that one guy, and then the bloodthirst was just there. So, when the clock struck midnight, he just started eviscerating vampires. And I think, unfortunately, ones that we had contract with. But
problem with that. You make a deal with people, and then they're dead.
Yep.
That ain't good for business.
No, definitely not.
Like we said, the Pentex employees we learnt were dead.
Yeah. Unfortunate, but that's what happens.
I don't know about the Hope Foundation people. They may have had they were having a meeting as we were leaving. We were told we had to go. So one of the Hope Foundation guys who I knew through fundraisers and so forth goes, this place isn't safe for you. You should leave now.
That happened a bunch of times. Like there was that random photographer in the Jaeger hut who was like, you guys should leave.
Oh yeah.
We were like, seems like a good time for that. And then Floyd, another coworker, ran out of the church and said, get out of here, run.
So quite clearly, if we would sum up our first LARP experience, first of all, we were told by the guys playing New Cathar they really enjoyed the pitch that was done, and that we improvised the kind of... Because we played it just full on as Mad Men.
We just watched a lot of Mad Men.
We watched a lot of Mad Men. Yeah. And then we just seemed to explore the world of darkness and a trail of bodies and blood and fire just... And then we learnt, of course, at the very end of the night, the Church of New Cathars was razed to the ground, burnt. It was great.
It was.
Really good first LARP experience. I
Absolutely.
love playing a syndicate agent. I think it's a wonderful way of interacting with a game in where, because obviously we were going into, we're at World Darkness Berlin. Vampire 5th Edition is announced. Vampire is, of course, extremely popular. Werewolves also, because everyone likes to have a brawl, a bit of a fight.
Yep.
But we wanted to observe what with us podcasting, and we got to sample pretty much every bit of the setting except for the changelings.
We just missed them.
We
Luckily.
missed them. We could have experienced something like the gnawing of their teeth on our bones. That would have been terrible. So at this point in the podcast, when we do our recordings, there will be a now for the secret frequency.
It's under the stairs. I love my mom.
So, we went for something that was very Berlin themed.
Yes.
The secret frequency for today is the ruby-eyed alchemist of Peacock Island, which is an island, obviously, in Berlin. So, the island is known as the Fraueninsel, or Peacock Island, and it's a nature reserve currently. But it also has a very interesting history. That history is with a certain alchemist. So at one point the island belonged to a Prussian ruling family, the Hohenzollerns. Zollern, yeah, for about 100 years. They have some whimsy and scientific curiosity. And so they established on the island a folly, a false ruin, and this is in the 18th century. There was also a place where this Hohenzollern and his mistress would obviously go to have fun times, but that isn't the point of this story. No, instead, they also had numerous things there, like a menagerie, peacocks, lions, llamas, monkeys, and kangaroos.
Why not?
Why not? A menagerie. How wonderful. But also, this island was given over to the court chemist, or court alchemist, as he would have been back then, Johann Kunckel. And so he's a chemist and alchemist. He is quite well known in chemical journals. He's respected in certain things. He was pushed out of his job in Dresden. There was some previously he was in Dresden in northern Germany, and there was obviously some sort of courtly conspiracies going on. So he fled to Berlin. He was invited there by Friedrich Wilhelm, and Friedrich and Kunckel were the only people allowed to come and go to the top secret laboratory on the island. So, Der große Kurfürst. Anyone want to translate that one? Elector Count. We worked out.
Yep.
Yeah. He obviously had a love of everything of fire, glass, and elixirs, because chemistry back then was more of an art rather than an actual science. So they visited it and they did experiments. Now Kunckel learnt how to make artificial ruby on this when he was there. So, FYI, artificial ruby is still important right now in modern day technology. You mostly have it in some device on you or at home because it's used for red lasers. I wonder if Kunckel knew about red lasers.
Maybe he did.
Maybe he did. So it's an important commodity because obviously you can palm it off as kind of jewellery and so forth, and but it's not true ruby because it doesn't have imperfections. Anyway, there's numerous funny smells and clouds coming from the island, wafting over across the Havel. Obviously, the Berliners had suspicions.
Of course.
And people said that Kunckel was conjuring gold for Friedrich, he's an alchemist of course, and that they had a pact with the devil, and Kunckel was bestowed with dark magic powers. But anyway, the Fraueninsel experiments were short-lived, so he was there from he left in 1930, he was there for a few years, so in 1630. So in 1689, an explosion sparked a fire that burnt the whole laboratory to the ground. There were rumours this was divine punishment for Kunckel's dealings with dark magic. Friedrich III, who was the previous Friedrich's son, accused the now ruined court chemist of witchcraft. We know what happens to those accused of witchcraft.
Usually you burn them, but...
You can dunk them in water and see if they float or not.
Yep.
And he fled to Stockholm to the king of the Swedish... the king of the Swedes, King Charles the 11th? 9th? 11th. Is that right?
The 11th, yes.
Yep.
He fled from Catholic Brandenburg-ish to Lutheran Sweden, where they're less likely to burn him.
Good. And it was quite a smooth life there for him. He was awarded a noble title. Kunckel obviously was, allowed to live comfortably until his death in 1703. But there is more to his story, because while he was there, he was never able to make the ruby red, the fake, artificial ruby glass ever again. So, if you go to the island, there is the chance that you may encounter the ghost of Kunckel himself, a shadowy figure with ruby red eyes who apparently haunts the island, seeking out the secret that he once knew, which is how to make artificial rubies. So, how do we use this in the world of darkness and Chronicles of Darkness? Are there ways to do this, Mike?
Sure. Well, I mean, so this kind of a character, this sort of a historical figure, is very easy to apply to your games, mostly as inspiration. Certainly, here at World of Darkness Berlin, we've been talking a lot about vampires, so I'll just start right there. A couple of, easy ones are that he is very alchemical in nature, so he's going to be perhaps a character, a ghoul, involved with the Tremere, for example. Now, the interesting thing you can play with that is, as a vampire, as a ghoul exists and then becomes a vampire, they become more static. So it may be that he was a ghouled mage. That's how he was able to create this artificial ruby. And after he was embraced and became more static and lost his dynamic magic, he was no longer able to create those items. So when you actually see his spectral figure haunting the islands, maybe that's still the undead vampiric form of Kunckel himself. Now, moving away from the World of Darkness, in Chronicles of Darkness, there's a lot of things you can do. For example, the game Promethean the Created has a very interesting legacy known as the Galatides. Now, in Promethean, these supernatural creatures are created from a demiurge, for example. And the Galatides are these very perfect beings crafted from stone, or perhaps glass. Now, Frederick Wilhelm had a strong interest in fire, glass, and alchemy and elixirs, which seems to me that this would be the perfect place to have a Galatide-like entity created, or a Galatide themselves being adopted by that courtly family there. Now, you can take that a little bit further. Prometheans have this disquiet effect and the wasteland effect. This would cause anyone hanging out on the Peacock Islands there to fear it, first off, and it would also slowly decay and be destroyed, which could explain perhaps the fire occurring on the island itself.
Excellent. So we've done Promethean. What else did we cover? Sorry, I was just looking. Unfortunately, this is what I'm going to reveal. We've got no sound on the live feed, so...
We don't? That's fine.
That's fun, technical difficulties. But we're recording, so this will be uploaded. Don't worry, this always happens. So much for being live. We're live to the audience.
Yep.
Which
Certainly.
So what did we cover? So hold on, I was just checking up on that. So we've done Promethean. We've also covered which other one?
I did Vampire a little bit. Maybe a little bit of Mage right there.
Okay, so for Mummy,
Mage.
let's do Mummy the Curse. So there are creatures known as Amkata, who are chimera creatures. They're made from different animals. And to bring them to life, they use Sekhem. And the people that are behind doing this in Mummy are Last Dynasty International, who date back all the way to Egypt. So I can quite easily imagine that our alchemist Kunckel is a member of Last Dynasty International, or at least the version of Last Dynasty International at that time. And his laboratory was a place to make use of the menagerie there to create these creatures, to learn more about how the Arisen operate.
Very good. I like it.
So that's quite simple.
Yes. Actually, kind of playing off of that, one of the interesting things about this island, there's this whole menagerie of creatures. Lions, llamas, peacocks, and more. Kangaroos, for some reason.
Yeah.
On that island now, all those animals are gone, except for the peacock. Those imported peacocks have now kind of taken over. So maybe there's something to that. What are some of the supernatural folklore aspects that we know about the peacock?
So the peacock was a creature attributed to Hera in Greek myth, and she took the head of a multi-eyed beast known as the Argus and attached it to the back end of a peacock, or of a creature that would become the peacock. So maybe there is some legend there that, again, that's another example of a very ancient Greek attempt at making an Al-Kata. What if all the peacocks on the island are those creatures?
Bizarre. Not sure how you use that in your game, but it's something to think about.
If I was a mummy, I would not go there.
No, certainly not. Certainly not. So what else do we have? Of course, we have mention of him being a spectral entity, which makes it an interesting place to visit for Wraith. The ghost of perhaps even a paradox spirit of an older mage can wreak havoc on the Shadowlands. And in the case of a paradox spirit, it would be very challenging to remove, since I don't believe they have any links to particular fetters or other means of binding them to the Shadowlands.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
makes it very difficult. Perhaps this is an optimal place for certain passions of wraiths in the classic World of Darkness, and this is a place they like to go. However, the presence of this somewhat malign spirit may be preventing them from staying there permanently.
Maybe what the ghost of Kunckel is doing, if he's a ghost and we consider Geist the Sin Eaters, maybe he's looking for a Vernian gate. Mm-hmm. He's looking to get into a domain which is a ghostly reflection of the island, and when he gets there, he can finally reclaim the mystery of his ruby.
Yeah, certainly. When you go to the underworld in Geist, there can be echoes and reflections of the past, and perhaps by exploring a particular reflection, he can actually find his previous old recipe, which was surely burned when his laboratory was torched.
Right, how are we doing for time? We've had quite a few ideas there. Have we got any last idea?
Nope, I think we're good.
No. Yeah, so that is it. We will obviously be talking more about End of Enlightenment in Blood and more about what we've learnt. We've done interviews with people. Indeed. We will be doing more interviews later in the day and hopefully tomorrow. Those will be uploaded. Already on the Beastable website, there are keynote speeches by
that's correct.
By the White Wolf team. I've got a recording of Justin Achilles' wonderful presentation. I believe there's also video that we can get off the organisers, so we will share that. But otherwise, I think we've had a good bit of fun, good bit of gaming, definitely. And excellent secret frequency idea.
Certainly.
Had great fun at the LARP, and there's still more stuff to do. Thank you to people who actually turned up. Everyone else is just playing Vampire 5th edition pre-alpha.
Of course, the European Championship is going on right now.
Yeah.
We have a tough time slot here.
And as I said, this should have gone out live. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry to the Beast of War team that it didn't. But it's technical issues. We're doing as much as we can. Shit happens. Oh, whoa.
No,
we can bleep. Oh, no, we're not live. We can bleep it. Bleep happens. There we are. Right. Yeah, we're normally looser with our language, but
apparently Beast of War is a family website, so
yeah,
gotta keep it clean.
Even though they've got games that deal with death, destruction, Warhammer, demons, and all that stuff. So thank you. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe. How can they find us, Mike?
Oh, well, you can check us out on our website, which is darker-days.org. We have a sweet Facebook which is facebook.com/darkerdaysradio. At darkerdaysradio on Twitter is always good.
Indeed.
And we have our Google Plus community, which has some crazy code at the end that I will never memorize.
But it does have some interesting activity there. Mm-hmm. We've got a blog that we sometimes update with other gaming stuff. I believe that is it. And, of course, if they want to email us, they can get to us via what email?
darkerdaysradio@gmail.com.
Indeed. And that's it.
Well, this has been great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Much obliged. This has been an episode of Darker Days Radio. Special thanks to Occam's Laser for the intro, outro, and new bumper music from their hit album, 9 Circles. Check out the rest of their work at occamslaser.bandcamp.com.